Hi guys, my name is Mohammed Javed, performance is my passion, and today I'll be reviewing my dad's 2010 Ford Escape. This is the 2.5 liter 4-cylinder engine with the 6-speed automatic transmission and front wheel drive. So I like this car and I'll be doing a full review of it. And before we get cracking, take a look at my filming location for today. It is Eastridge High School's parking lot, student parking lot. And you know what? I thought it was a nice clear space to do some filming today. So thank you very much, Eastridge, for the empty parking lot. Thank you very much. I needed it today. So let's get cracking with the front of the car. So starting with the styling of this car, I think it's a pretty good looking SUV. You know, this is the 2010 model, and styling, this has Ford's new design philosophy. It's a little bit different than what my Focus has. So this one is all boxes and circles. Nothing is curvy, nothing is triangles, trapezoids, unlike my Ford Focus. And you know what? I think on an SUV, it looks pretty good. Compared to some of the newer SUVs like the Honda CR-V, I think this looks very, very good. I don't like curves on an SUV. But, I mean, look at these circular headlights. Look at the fog lamps. It looks very good. There's some chrome inserts on the grille. The Ford badge is finished in chrome. It says the car's name on the front, and it's not balanced, which I kind of like. And here, you do get a little splitter in the front, and that is to increase reduce drag and increase aerodynamic efficiency, so you get better fuel economy. But if you were to take this vehicle off-road, you could just unbolt two bolts here, and then you just take that off to get more ground clearance from the front. So I like the styling. Thank you very much, Ford. Moving on to other styling aspects of this vehicle, many people always ask me why this is finished in black plastic, and the truth is, here in the northern parts of the U.S., it is very humid, snowy, as you can see, wet, and cars do typically rust and corrode. Well, Ford had this brilliant idea of making these sills out of plastic. Therefore, you can't rust these things. They're unrustable. And looking at the door at this point, you see this little key code. So I really love that Ford puts this on its vehicle. So let's say you're an enthusiastic guy, you like to do skydiving, jumping, or things like that, right? But you don't want to have your keys with you. That's completely natural. So what do? You hide your keys inside the car, inside the dashboard, and then you lock it with these buttons, and then when you come back, you unlock them, and bam, your door's open. That's a very clever design feature. Looking at the roof of this vehicle, it does have really nice roof racks, so you could put kayaks on there, snowboards, bicycles. And let's take a look at the mirrors. So, being a mid-sized SUV, that does mean you do have some design flaws, like visibility. Rear visibility sometimes is poor on these SUVs. So how do you prevent that? Modern cars typically have a little LED on the corner, and they flash at you when something is in your blind spot. So this car doesn't have that. It has a much simpler and very clever solution to it. It's just a tiny mirror that has some curvature to it, and you can see all of your blind spots. So thank you very much, Ford. Now I can see what's behind me at all times. As with all Ford vehicles, refueling this thing is really easy. All you have to do is walk up, put your finger, and pull it out. That's simple. So first of all, you do get this really clever graphic here, and that is so, you know, this car has an anti-theft system for the fuel. So if someone were to stick a hose in here and try to steal your fuel, they couldn't do it. So you need a special nozzle that comes along with the car, and this diagram shows you to place the nozzle in there before you try to fuel it with a jerry can. And then you also have Ford's Easy Fuel capless system. So all you have to do is put the nozzle in there, it recognizes it, and then bam, you refuel. It's that easy. So taking a look at the rear design of this car, it does look pretty good with these very boxy taillights, you know, more of the box theme, as I said. And my favorite part is probably this, the rear tailgate. So as you can see, here's the key, and you press this button twice, right? And you go here to open your tailgate. It doesn't open. Why? Well, because technically, you just open the rear glass. This is a feature that Range Rovers had a long time ago. They still have it, and they carried it onto this car. Here's your wiper assembly. And, you know, this is for if you have small grocery items that you just want to pop in, you don't have to open this. And you could always just dig the button here and still pull this up. As you can see, the the trunk is very spacious. You could fit a lot of stuff. And as you can see, even I fit back here. So hey, Ford designed a tailgate that even I could fit in. So I'm 5'1", and if you want to fit a 100-pound object back in there, you could, because it just supported me. Let's take a look at the engine of this Ford Escape. So this is Ford's 2.5-liter Duratec engine. It produces 170 horsepower and 160 pound-feet of torque. It is a 4-cylinder engine, and it is mated, in our case, to a 6-speed automatic transmission, which is pretty nice. A few things that I definitely like about this engine bay. First of all, there's plenty of space for your hands. If you are a guy who does their own maintenance, who does their own work on their car, it is easy to reach everything. As you can see, the spark plugs are reachable. The wiring is very clever, and if something were to go wrong with it, all you have to do is unplug all of them, and then you put a new set in, and they are bolted here, so that's pretty nice. You do get plenty of space here for safety between the engine and the firewall, and that's very clever, so that in case you did have an accident, the engine doesn't go into the cabin immediately. As you can see, all of the wires for the interior of this car is just 3 little simple sockets, and if anything went wrong, all you have to do was unplug one and then plug it back, plug a new set in. There is some cool stickers on the inside of the hood. So first one is this one, so it shows the chains on the 2 different engines. So the 3-liter has something like this, and this engine, the one that I have, the 2.5-liter Duratec, has a graphic like that. It looks from that like that on the front of the engine. It does tell you how many pounds of pressure your air conditioning motor needs, and a few more facts on here, so like how much coolant you want and things like that. So that's pretty clever. Also, you do also have another tiny graphic here as well, which is kind of funny because, you know, it tells you not to put your hand on the radiator grill. So guys, please don't try this at home. If you slice off your hands, that's not my responsibility. I don't want to take credit for that one. So I did warn you beforehand. According to Ford, you should not put your hands in the radiator vents. So that's about it for the engine. It is a very clever engine. Power is very nice. Torque is very nice. More than my Ford Focus. More than the equivalent Toyota Highlander or RAV4 of this same year. So that's pretty good. I like this engine. So after some of the cool features from the outside of the car, let's take it for a test drive and see how it drives. Okay, start her up. Release the handbrake and pop it into drive. All right. Okay, so first of all, a few things off the get-go. You know, the steering is a little bit soft and spongy, but that's, you know, handling's not what this car was made for. It was made for comfort and off-roading, and you know what? It does that very well. And it's the same story with all the aspects of this car. You know, the brakes, again, they're not very hardcore. They're not very stiff, or they don't lean the car that much when you brake, but they are very soft and they're nice to use in general. So also, you know, accelerating it, you do hear a little bit of noise from the back of the car. Now, I wouldn't tell my dad this, but the issue is this car does have a tiny exhaust leak, and as you could hear, it does have a little bit of exhaust noise from the back. But you know, it's not that big of an issue. It's still very insulated on the inside of the cabin. Therefore, you don't really hear the noise all that much. It's not annoying by any means. And in real life, in the real world, it would honestly be quieter than this if he was to fix the exhaust leak. So it drives pretty nice. I like it. I like the driving of this car. Let's park it, and let's move on to interior features now. So after some cool, clever features of the outside of this vehicle, let's take a look at some of the interior features as well. So, starting off first with the steering wheel and the seats. The seat is electrically adjustable, as you could hear, and it does give you a load of different seat adjustments, so you could have a very comfortable seating position. The steering wheel, as always, it does go up and down, but for some reason Ford didn't put a telescopic feature. You can't take it you can't pull it towards you or push it away from you. And that's kind of weird since my 2002 Ford Focus still has that. So, this dashboard is kind of short so that you are safer in accidents and you get more space on the inside and inside the trunk. Take a look at the stereo. It's a very clever stereo, and I really like it since it has, you could Bluetooth it to your cell phone and play the music off the speakers. You do get some, you get a one-zone climate control down here, so all of this is your climate control. That's your radio. You get steering wheel controls for your phone, so that when you Bluetooth your phone to this thing, all you have to do is you press this button, and you can make calls. You have voice commands on this car, and you have loads of Bluetooth settings for your phone, so that you don't have to take your eyes off the road and go, oh yeah, I wanna play Gucci Gang on this. Oh no, and then you crash. So that Ford did prevent that with the steering wheel controls. I like that. Take a look up here. Here are 2 sunglass holders, and here, that's where I hide my Ray-Bans, guys. Check out how I look in these. And you do have 2 of them, so that you could put 2 pairs of sunglasses for the 2 front passengers in this vehicle, which is clever designing. Take a look here. So you do have standard visors, and you could open this. You do have the mirror with a light. Same here. This also has the light, which is clever, so you can look at yourself in brightness and in bright light. And if I were to, let's say, the sun is over there, it's sort of in my view, I could pull this thing here and get it out of my way, so I don't have to glare like this, or I don't even have to use my Ray-Bans anymore. I could also pull it to the side and do the same thing here. The mirror has an automatically dim feature, so here is the sensor to that. It's a light sensor, so that if somebody is driving with the high beams on, as I am right now, I'm flashing them, right? This thing automatically dims so that you don't glare in the rear view mirror as well, because you can't drive sunglasses at night, guys. Come on, let's be honest. Your transmission, as I said before, this is the 6-speed automatic transmission. This car was available with a 5-speed manual, but this is really the transmission to get, since you're driving this thing for comfort, not for the fun of it, alright? So, it's very nice, and you do have a foot-operated handbrake, and that's about it for the front. So, it's very nice, and you do have a foot-operated handbrake. You do get curtain airbags on this car, so that if someone were to hit my car from this side, this curtain airbag just comes down on both ends of the car, and that protects your head. You have the standard airbag here, and let's take a look at the center console. So, as you can see, there's plenty of space. There's a little tray that you can take away. There's slots for your CDs if you're still into those, but as I said, this is Bluetooth, and you just use that for music most of the time. You do have a cool space for 2 pens here and here, so I could pop my Bic pen that I just bought from Dollar Tree in there, so that's cool. And as you can see, you could also pull this level off, and there's plenty of space in here. My hand goes all the way back here, and you know what? I'll let you in on a tiny secret. The more expensive models of this car, like the Limited or the Platinum, those did have a cooled, refrigerated console on the lower end of it, and they had this same thing up here. But the cheaper models didn't have that. But since you still have quite a lot of space underneath this one, you could fit a DIY fridge that opens from the sides. Now, taking a look at the cup holders, there are 2 different heights of cup holders. You have 2 here for the front passengers, 2 for the rear passengers. Let's take a look at these. Here's your auxiliary plug-in. So you have your standard 12-volt charger in here for your phone. You have the traction control button, which you could turn on and off for more traction. You have a USB, and here's your auxiliary for your music. But as I said, if your phone does have Bluetooth, you could Bluetooth it to this. So let's take a look at the rear features of this car now. Alright, so taking a look at the rear seats, you do, at first glance, it does look pretty basic. You do have, your windows, your door handles, your door locks, but actually there's quite a lot more to them than that. As you can see, you do have these separate dome lights, so, and if you pop both of them on, you get extra light. You also have another light here. Taking a look here, you do have 2 cup holders, as I said before, which is nice for the rear passengers. Sorry guys, I'm a little sick. Now, let's take a look at these pockets. So as you can see, I could fit my laptop in there pretty standard, and you could fit all sorts of gadgets in there, which is nice. You do have these door pockets here, which you could fit some tiny items into, like phone chargers. And if you do really want to charge your phone, you do have this 12-volt plug-in where you could put your phone charger into, which is cool. And you still get air conditioning, heating vents, all sorts of things back here. You get your own speakers on each door. You do get a subwoofer in the back of the car, which is nice. And, you know, let's say you wanted more space in the back of the car. You want to put mountain bikes in there, camping gear in there, a lot more stuff in there, and you don't want to put them on the roof racks, right? So what do? In my case, you go here, right? First, you pull a little tab. Here, let me do it on this seat, actually. It's easier that way. You pull this little tab, right? A cloth tab, and the seat pulls out like that, and you say, well, Mohammed, what are you saying? Like, this still isn't that nice. So what do? You fold it down like that, okay? Then what you do is you go up here and you pull a little tab here, right? And you bring the seats down. And if you're complaining that this isn't flat enough for you, well, the headrests do pop off so you could get more space in there. And that's very clever designing from Ford. My Focus has them too, it's just not as simple as this. So I like that Ford put them in this SUV as well. Alright, so taking another look back here, as you can see, you have pretty nice carpets back here for your dirty shoes, and you're also missing something here. So usually cars have a little hump over here for differential gear, you know, drive shafts, things like that, but this car was very clever by putting the chassis a little bit higher, and therefore you do get rid of that feature down here. So if you wanted to sit in the middle, you honestly can. Since you have seat belts here, you could put a car seat here and still fit 2 people back here. So that is very clever designing from Ford. I like the interior of it. Let's score the car now. So, you know, first things, the parenting, right? So what would your parents think of this car? Would they like it? What would they hate it? And I think I would give it, honestly, a 10 out of 10, since it's a little bit more reliable than my Focus is, since it is newer, and there is no drive belt. Sorry, this is a chain-driven engine, so it's more reliable in that term. So your parents would definitely like that. They would like the practicality that you get of this car. This is a car for responsible people, and you know, your parents would generally like it. I'd give it a 10 out of 10 instead of an 8 out of 10, which is what my Focus got last time. And then we go on to the fun factor, the performance factor. I'm going to give this vehicle, honestly, 6 or... no, let's bump it up to a 7. It deserves a 7 in my opinion, since it does have 170 horsepower. That's more than my Focus has. It does have 160 pound-feet of torque, still more than my Focus. Yeah, sure, the steering's not meant for sportiness, it's more for comfort, but this vehicle is really good off-road, so it makes up for that, and therefore it gets 7 points in this section. Then we go on to the insurance. This, honestly, this isn't under my name, okay? This is under my dad's name, so insurance is pretty cheap for him, but if I were to put it underneath my own name, I think it would be a little bit more expensive, somewhere like between $500 all the way to $700 depending on who your carrier is and if you go off your parents' insurance. So it's a little bit more expensive than my Focus is, so therefore I'm only going to give it an 8 out of 10 in this section. So 8 plus 7 plus 10, that does add up to 25 out of 30 points. And to put that into perspective, that is by far the worst car. Just kidding, it's not the worst car. It's only 1 point behind my Focus, and those are the only 2 cars I've reviewed so far. So, hey, this car did pretty good for itself. I like it, and if you're looking for a second-hand car that is reliable, practical, good for all occasions, do check this vehicle out. 2010 Ford Escape. Make sure to like, subscribe, and share this video with your friends. Make sure to press that little bell icon so you stay notified for my next videos. There's some really good stuff coming. I will be reviewing a Ferrari 458. I'm excited for that one, guys. Seriously. BMW M6 convertible. That's going to be a nice one. Mercedes G-Wagon 2015. That's also going to be a really good car. And I will be bringing you 3, not 2, 3 executive limos, alright? So a 30-foot stretch limo that will be coming, okay? And then I'll get my hands on 2 Mercedes S-Class limousines, and I will also be reviewing a Lincoln Town Car. So if you like any of those vehicles, stay subscribed for the next videos. And if you have any concerns with the videos, you know, any comments that you have, do go ahead and comment them down below so I can make better content for you guys, because you are my viewers and I care what you guys think. I would like to thank my cameraman, aka my dad. I am sponsored by Mom and Dad on this channel, so jokes aside, my dad is, I'm thankful that my dad helps me on this channel. He does get some pretty nice footage, and if you have any tips for him, also comment down below what he could do next time for the filming. And that's pretty much it that I have for this time around. My name is Mohammed Javed, performance is my passion, and I will see you next time on The Young Driver.